All right, well, welcome everyone. Thanks so much for joining. We're going to do a little presentation here. My name is Jonathan Tanis. I'm the Director of Product Development here at Beyond Pay. We're going to be talking about the October 2018 release, and this one's a really exciting release for us because we're introducing the new desktop experience. All right, this is a new user experience. You've gotten a preview of it if you've taken a look at our new mobile app. We've been sending out a lot of emails about that. We're going to be sending out more. We're going to be really pushing everybody to at least try out the new user interface, whether that means just going forward with the mobile app or the whole experience. That's up to you guys. Eventually, this will be the new. It won't be called the new experience, but eventually this will be the experience for everybody. All right. So over the next 12 to 18 months or so, we'll likely be changing everybody over, whether you're ready or not. But this is an opportunity at this point where you can kind of opt into it and begin testing it out, roll it out slowly to your employees if you want, or roll it out all at once. So, while there are several different things in the release, we're going to be focusing on the new desktop experience. We'll talk a little bit about the mobile app. And really going forward, the mobile app and the desktop experience, this new user interface, it's really the same thing. All right, so what's happening is the desktop experience is going to be what the current mobile experience is. The mobile experience is eventually going to be what the desktop experience is. So whether you're using a mobile phone, an iPad, your desktop computer, a workstation with multiple monitors, it's going to be the same experience. And it's really close to that already. There's going to be a lot of improvements as well in the December release, which is slated for the beginning of December. And then, every 2 months is our release cycle. So December, February, April, there'll be more and more features introduced. But it's all going to be predicated on the new user experience. So if you want to take advantage of the latest and the greatest, you're going to need the new user experience to really take advantage of it. We're going to be actually looking at the system. All right, so I only have a couple slides here. We're going to be looking and diving into the system very shortly. Now, first things first, how do you get the new user experience? There's a couple things that need to be done in order to take advantage of the new user experience. And you can use user experience and mobile app. You also hear me use the word desktop experience. You can use those all interchangeably. All right, so you'll hear us referencing that in a couple different ways, but the new user experience, the new desktop experience, the new mobile app, the setup is the same for all of them because they all leverage the same technology. They all have the same look and feel. So the big items are approvals for workflows. This is the thing that would probably take the most time to roll out if you haven't already done so. So if you are not using workflows, this is probably the most significant, or at least one of the most difficult things. This is something we would help you with. We're not charging anything at this time to roll out the new user experience to anybody. So take advantage of that as well. We will help you transition anything that's set up in your company now that needs to be set up. We'll help you with that so that you're ready for the new user experience. But the big one is workflows for approval. So timesheets, benefit changes, time off requests, timesheet change requests. All those items have to be done as to-do items, all right, with workflows as opposed to the old way of doing things. Now, workflows have been introduced for at least 2 years. I want to say it might even be 3 years now. So they've been around for a while, but that doesn't mean that you're necessarily set up with workflows. And again, your CSR will be able to help you with that to know whether or not you need to set those up before you can move forward. The next requirement is timesheet profiles. All right, so if you're using TLM, you need to have a start end all days timesheet, a bulk hours timesheet, or a time off only timesheet. You cannot use the new mobile app with any of the other timesheets. So there's a small business edition timesheet that sometimes some companies have been using. There's a graph timesheet. There's a frozen dates timesheet, or frozen punches timesheet, I think it's called. So there's a couple other timesheets out there that are no longer going to be supported. And by no longer supported, you actually can do all the same things in the start end all days timesheet. So for the most part, you're not really losing functionality, but it will be a shift. It'll be a little bit different for your employees. So that's something to take into consideration. There's also a new profile called the new UI dashboard. All right, so that needs to be assigned to all employees. That one's really easy to set up. We recommend setting up one for employees and one for managers and anybody else. But you can set up multiple profiles if that makes sense. And then the last one is probably the easiest. It's literally a checkbox in the security profile. So once those workflows are done, the timesheet profiles are done. Those are kind of the difficult ones. New UI dashboard's easy to do. It takes 5 minutes, not even. But the security profile, all you do is check a box. So you can roll this out on a per department basis. You could roll it out. You could like clone your existing employee profile, security profile, assign it to a group of employees, and now when they log in, they have the new user experience. So you can start field testing it if you wanted to. If you're an advanced user, you can also append .hcm to the end of your link when you log in, and you can try out the new user experience. Now, again, keep in mind, if you don't have workflow set up, you don't have timesheet set up, you don't have a new UI dashboard, it might not look all that great. So please reach out for help and email support@beyondpay.com. Talk to your CSR about maybe kicking the tires a little bit, so to speak. But if you're an advanced user, you can use .hcm at the end of your link when you log in, and then that will let you see what the new user experience looks like. All right. Also, all this information is available in our release notes that you can get from help.beyondpay.com. You can also log into Workforce Ready and go to Service Provider Documents. It's under the Our Company menu, and we post release notes there. That's also where we post user guides. There's actually a new UI user guide as well that gives a lot of details, a lot more details than I'm going to go into today. We're going to keep things pretty high level today. And then just in case, for some reason, if we lost the internet or had some kind of problem and all of a sudden I got disconnected, I wanted to at least show a screenshot of our new charts. All right, so we'll be talking about these in detail. Really, really, really excited about charts and dashboards. I think there's one more that we'll kind of show here. And you kind of see that this works on the mobile app as well. So if you're using the mobile app, you can get these charts and graphs for dashboards. So I at least wanted to leave you with this, just in case you guys had to leave early or couldn't stay on for the whole thing. You can at least get a little sneak peek of what I'm about to show you in more detail. All right, so let me jump into a live demo. Now, in this demo, I'm logged in as an employee, Kathy Watts. She's an administrator on the system. All right, so we're getting a little bit of a picture. The sample company we're using, Dunder Mifflin Paper Company. All right, so Kathy is the admin. All right, so she has full access to everything. And we're going to spend most of our time, we may log in as a manager, so you can see a little bit from a manager's perspective, but Kathy gives you a really good perspective of some of the new things that I want to highlight. So if you've never seen the new mobile app, all right, this screen looks very different. If you're already familiar with the new mobile app, then this should look very familiar because this is the first screen you see when you log in. So this screen has little widgets that's showing my personal information. So me as Kathy Watts, this is my personal information. So it's showing me, how many hours I worked this pay period, what's my accrual vacation balance, I didn't have any expense reimbursements on my timesheet, I don't have any overtime this week. I can jump to my pay statement history. So I can see that it's 2 days for my pay stubs that are coming. I can download those pay stubs from here. You'll notice some navigation has improved as well. So if I go to my pay history, I can jump over to my tax forms in context. So I can download my W-2. I can look at my direct deposit information. I can also add or enter my direct deposit information right from here. All right, so this screen's changed a little bit to make it a little bit, again, the goal is a better user experience, right? We want our employees to be able to just do stuff by logging in. It should be a natural experience for them to update things. So that's really what we're focused on. We want a user experience that is simple, easy, informative. All right. I've also got my good old-fashioned dashboard. All right. So this is something you guys should all be familiar with. This hasn't changed. It hasn't gone away. All right. Now, the number one thing that's changed is our menu in the upper left-hand corner looks a little bit different. All right. So let's start at the beginning. Number one, there's this little pin button, so you can pin the menu down. So now as I navigate and click on items, it leaves my menu open. All right, and I can unpin it. And if I unpin it, whenever I click on a menu item, say my profile, the menu goes away. All right, so that's for some helpful navigation. If you have a large screen like I do, that's very handy because you can see more stuff on the screen, lets you jump around a little bit faster. If you have a small monitor, then you probably don't want to use that feature too much. Also, favorites show up in the first tab. So you might have heard of the start menu. All right, so you might have seen the start menu. It works the exact same way. So whatever you have saved in your start menus, they'll automatically be shown in your favorites bar here. The next menu along the top here is we have my info. So think of this as employee self-service. All right, so this is all my personal info. This is Kathy Watt's information. And you'll notice that we have things broken out into different categories. All right, so this is a little bit different than it was before. All right, so it's organized by product function. So if I go to my time, that's going to give me the details on my timesheet, requesting time off, requesting overtime, maybe requesting a leave of absence. If I go to my HR, I can do HR actions, take a look at any checklists. I can see what assets I currently have. If I go to my schedule, I can check out what my schedule is. All right, the schedule screen looks a little bit different too with this new user experience. So that's the screen I wanted to highlight. Availability and preferences has shifted as well. So availability and preferences are now based on a little calendar view. So if I click on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I can set my availability or preferences. So maybe I prefer to work from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So I can communicate that. All right, if I keep moving over along the top, I have this team menu. So if I'm a manager that has access to multiple employees, this is my team menu. Take a look at my team and employee information, right? Probably the very first screen you learned when you logged into Workforce Ready for the first time. This is probably the first screen we directed you to go to, is employee information, to see a nice list of employees. And you'll notice, let me get rid of this menu for a second. You'll notice one of the first things that should stand out to you is we have this colorful chart down here. All right, so this is what we're really excited about with this release. All right, you have the ability with almost every report in the system. It's not quite every report, but almost every report in the system, you have the ability to introduce charts. All right, a chart can be turned on by clicking on this little mode button. All right, so we got data only. This is just showing my data. If I say data charts, or I could just say, oh, wrong button, or I could just say charts only, and that would just show me my charts. All right, so this is not just showing you a chart like maybe you would see in Excel or maybe Google Sheets or something. This is not just a chart. What's really cool about this is we have built-in drill down reporting. All right, so anytime you click on a report, anytime you click on a chart, so let's say I click on customer service here. I got a green bar, there's 4, customer service. If I click on it, it's going to instantly filter my data up here at the top, showing me those details of those employees. So these are my employees that are in the customer service department. And I can clear my filters, and that'll jump me back to the beginning of where I was. All right, and we'll talk a little bit more about this. The other thing that you'll notice, let me get rid of charts for a second. The other thing you'll notice is that our actual reports look a little bit different. The menus are a little bit more compressed, so you can fit more data on the screen at a given time. I'm also very pleased and happy to announce that you can actually resize your columns. It's moments like these where I wish you guys weren't muted, because I envision some cheering and clapping going on right now, because this is something that's been asked for a lot. I was really happy about this. Sometimes you have some reports that you build over time that have just a ton of data, and it's just like you have to scroll across the top, and yet you have this one field like yes that's taking up half the screen. Well, that's a thing of the past. And when you save your reports, it actually saves the size of those menus of how you had them set up. All right, if you click this little drop down, that gives you your options to be able to search and filter. You can group your data, remove your data. All right, there's also this filters button right here. So now this is where I can do my filters. This is where I can do all my column settings, just like you were familiar with before. Custom columns are right here. So it's a little bit more natural to get to custom columns if you ever use custom reporting and custom filters. There's also this little dot, dot, dot menu. All right, this lets us save our view, save as. Again, much more natural. You know, it might take some getting used to since you're used to Workforce Ready as it was. But for new users especially, this is much more clear, and you get the hang of it very quickly. But save lets you save your current view. Save as lets you save as a new view, which shows up over here as your drop downs. All right, you can also add or remove columns. You can also export. All right, same screen you're used to be able to export all your data in all the same formats. None of that's changed. You can also print your data. And the other thing, I can't show it yet, but the other thing happening in release 60, which is the December release, so in a few weeks, you'll actually be able to schedule reports to be emailed right from this menu right here, as opposed to having to go to My Save Reports like you had to in the past. So it should be a little bit easier to manage which reports are getting emailed to you automatically. And if you're not familiar with this feature, anytime you save a report, you can schedule that report to be emailed. So maybe every Monday morning you want to get a certain report in your inbox. So you're going to be able to do that. I mean, you can already do that, but you're going to be able to do it right from the report going forward, which is a little more natural, a little bit easier. All right, some other cool stuff here. So if I group my data, the grouping looks a little bit more natural. And again, you can resize. You can also minimize your groups. Now, for an employee list like this, that's not all that helpful, but if you have subtotals, it would actually show you your subtotals here. So if you were summing some columns of amounts or something, you'd actually see some subtotals there. You can also just minimize specific groups within, which is something that you could never do before. All right, so some other cool stuff. Every single product now has a dashboard associated with it. So if I come down to time and click on dashboard, there's now this time dashboard that's associated with my data. All right, and all this is a report that I ran earlier. I added a chart, and I'll show you guys how to add charts shortly. I saved the report, and then I came over to my dashboard, and I clicked on Add a Chart to my dashboard. Every manager can create their own dashboards, so they can customize this to see the information the way they want. And again, this is all drill down reporting as well. So it opens up some possibilities here. So, let's just take this data as an example. Let me tell you a little bit of what we're looking at. So I've got overtime hours by employee ID. So this is showing me a bar chart of employees and how many overtime hours they worked. If I click on this little filter, I can see what filter range we're talking about. So this is this year. All right, each of these dashboards can have their own filter ranges. So one report might have this year, one might be last quarter, one might be the current week. So every chart on your dashboard can have independent dates. If I look at this one, I've got exceptions by category. So this is telling me I've got 489 absent employees. Again, this is a demo, so tough to keep all that data in order. We got left early 268 times, tardy 177, And again, you can use your own exceptions. If you're not using exceptions now, that's a great thing to consider implementing if you're using time and attendance. Basically, you schedule your employees, and now you can track things like how many times were they late, how many times were they early, absent, that kind of thing. I've also got exceptions by weekday. All right, so I noticed right here, it looks like Thursday and Tuesday, for some reason seems to be the days that people are having some more exceptions than maybe normal. All right. Down here, I've got hours by day. So this is showing me some trends. So I can see sometime in September here, it looks like my numbers bumped up a little bit for overtime. And then this is showing me overtime by weekday. So it's showing me what days of the week do I have the most overtime. So it seems like on Friday, overwhelmingly, we have a lot more overtime on Fridays versus any other day of the week. Right? And so this is why I'm so excited about these reports. And I'm going to show you the drill down capabilities in a second, which makes it even cooler. But this is access to data that you've probably never seen before. Right? Now, you might be an Excel wizard and you export our data to Excel all the time and manipulate it and mash it up. So you might be doing this behind the scenes. But now you're going to have the ability to do that right from within the system. If you did not have this charts feature, it would be a little bit difficult to figure out that one day of the week somebody's having more overtime than other days of the week. All right. Whereas by having these charts at our fingertips, that kind of stuff just kind of pops out on the page. All right. So now the cool stuff. All right. So 170.9 overtime hours on Fridays. I can actually click on this, and it's now going to jump to that report. I've got a calculated time summary report. I'll let it load here. All right, and I've got my weekday is a Friday, and my regular hours, and showing my overtime hours here as well. So now this is a report, right? So I can do all the same things that I'm used to on a report. So let's come in here, add remove columns. I'm going to pull in employee ID, and I want last comma first name in there. Apply. All right, so now I have a little bit more details on my data. All right, so now I have all my employees sitting here. I still have my overtime by weekday. All right, so I can see on Friday here, kind of jumped up. I can see a little bit. Now, again, this chart doesn't necessarily make sense for the data that I'm looking at it now. But this one over here shows me the employee hours, overtime hours by employee ID. So of all the days that I have, again, we're just filtering by Friday as well because I clicked on Friday from the dashboard. So this is showing me all the data of overtime hours on a Friday. And it looks like it's made up of these 3 employees right here. So, all right, let's drill down to a little bit more detail. Let me see what that is. I click on it. All right, this looks like Paul Peterson, and it was on Friday. And you know what? I want to see a little bit more data here, so let's pull in date. And let's pull in, I'll just pull in the timesheet end date just to get a feel for which pay period this was coming from. All right, so now this is showing me all the different pay periods. Let's sort it by amount here. All right, so 2/4, 10/14, 10/28. All right, so again, we're starting to kind of mash up and drill down into our data. Let's take another example here. So let's go back to our time dashboard. I've got some exceptions over here. So I want to figure out what's going on. You know what? I'm concerned about people leaving early. Let's take a look at all my leaving early exceptions. So I'll click on it. This is going to take me to my exceptions report. So it's showing me all my left early exceptions. This is giving it to me by name and showing me a little breakdown. So it looks like Ashley and Paul, they're the 2 that leave early a lot. All right. And look at that. People leaving early on Fridays, it looks like. All right. So let's just look at Friday here. Looks like a little bit more evenly split now as I drill down into Friday. And if I want to go back, I can remove those filters and kind of jump back for a second, reset. All right, let's look at these exceptions again. All right, so I want to see left early. And let me just look at Ashley's exceptions. All right, so it looks like Ashley's leaving early. We've got this sorted by date right now. Let me get some more rows on that page to look at it. All right, so again, you kind of get where I'm going. I don't want to spend too much time in the weeds here, but we can manipulate, we can drill down, we can filter, we can see our data in new ways that we can never do before. And this is just built in. This is just like a part of the new reporting in the new desktop experience. So there's nothing that you have to, nothing you have to purchase. There's nothing you have to, really invest in here other than spending some time and some thought over, okay, what kind of data am I concerned about? And that's something that we'd be excited to help you guys with as well. All right, so every product now has its own dashboard, all right, but we also have a big master dashboard. So if I come to my home page, all right, and if you remember, this is where we started off at the very beginning of this process. Right along the top here, I've got all my dashboards in one place. So if I go to my dashboard, this is a mashup. So this lets me pull in reports and this lets me pull in charts from all different areas of the system. I get to pick and choose. Whereas if I go to the time dashboard, this is just going to show me any charts that are related to time. If I go to payroll, that's just going to show me some charts that are related to payroll. I think I have it set up for some labor distribution summary reports showing me some expenses by department. I forget exactly though. All right, so a lot going on with this one. If I go to benefits, all right, this is showing me some charts from benefits. So I got a new hire enrollment's not completed yet. So this is giving me a little graph showing me who started their open enrollments, right? So think about open enrollments coming up. You've got all these employees that need to enroll in benefits. This is giving you a little chart showing, okay, who hasn't started the process yet, who's new, and then who's been rejected. Maybe some people submitted, but it hasn't been approved yet. And again, drill down reporting, you click on it, and now I see a list of who those 19 people are that haven't yet started their benefits. And then as I drill down a little bit more, I can see by department and by job. All right, so it looks like sales, it's got 5 of them. All right, so maybe I need to call the sales manager and let him know to let his guys know that we're still waiting on those open enrollments for most of his team. All right, and again, the dashboard lets me mix and match, so I can pull in charts and graphs, from all over. So I've got a little vacation balances report showing me who's got the most vacation balances. I've got a little applicant stages, right? So applicants have applied for positions. I've got 2 so far that we've extended an offer for. I got 3 that are going on in interviews. And again, you click on it, drill down, and now I see, okay, here's the 3 applicants that have applied for some positions. All right, so let's talk about creating these reports. So let's take a look. Let's do a calculated time summary report. All right, so this is a calculated time summary report. All right, not much different than it's always been. All right, except now we have this option to turn on charts and graphs. We've got some charts and graphs there. Try to go to, let's do one of these other ones. All right, we'll use this one because we got one that isn't valid there. All right, so this is giving me, let's see, what am I looking at? So I've got weekday, and I've got the total number of hours worked by weekday. All right, so I don't really necessarily care about that right now. Let's pull in, I want department. Pull in the department name, and I don't care about weekday right now. And let's just start here. All right, so this is showing me the total hours, and let's just clean this up just a little bit more and get rid of sick and vacation. I only want and holiday. I just want regular overtime and department name. We'll keep it simple for now. And I now have a department, how many overtime hours they had, how many regular hours they had. And I'm going to remove these charts. We're going to kind of start with a clean slate here. So to create a chart, you click on this little dot, dot, dot in the charts area. I can either select an existing chart, or in this case, I'm going to add a new chart. I've got 5 chart types along the top, and I'm not going to go through all these in detail. You can read the user guides if you're really curious, and obviously you can start playing with this as well within the system using .hcm, or just reach out to us and we can help you guys out. I'll go ahead, I'm going to do a bar chart, and I want department, and let's do overtime total hours, and I'll give it a little name here, overtime by department. Cue the Jeopardy music. All right, and now I got my little overtime by department chart. I can also change my date range filters if I wanted to. All right, and that would change it for all your charts. Let's add another chart, and this time I want it to be by time, and I'll show you why in a second. We'll just do it this way. Oh, I selected some data that's not actually on there. Let's do regular hours this time, but I want to overlay it with overtime total hours. All right, so this is showing me by department, and it doesn't really make any sense because we're having it by department. All right, so let me go in here, add remove columns, and now I want to have a date field in here. I'm going to use the counter timesheet end date. And I want to change this one up a little bit, and I want to show timesheet date. All right, so let me show you why I did this. So on this side of the equation, I've got rolling down by date. It's actually by timesheet date, so we're looking at one pay period at a time. We could potentially do a month at a time or something like that too. And over here, I've got overtime by department. So what's cool about this, all right, let's look at maybe customer service. So now this is showing me all my customer service, and on the left or on the right chart, it's showing me by date just for customer service. All right, so again, we can start working around our manipulation of these reports and jumping in all over the place. So I can filter down on one side, and then it shows me more details on the right side. I can filter down on details on the right side, and now it shows me some more details on the left side. So we can start building these reports to have a meaningful interactive experience with our data. When all is said and done, you have the ability to export these reports. You can also print these reports, and the charts actually show up in the data. So if you're emailing these saved reports, you can have them emailed to somebody without even having to log into the system. All right. So again, as you can see, and hopefully as you can hear, we're really excited about what we're offering here. So we're really excited about what's already available. I'm even more excited too what's coming in December. It's going to be a really big comprehensive release. A lot centered over the mobile app and the desktop experience as well. And I did want to show you one last thing here. So if we look at a security profile here, the very last step in the process, under new UI preferences on your security profile, you can simply enable desktop to turn this on. But again, reach out to support@beyondpay.com. Let your CSR know that you're interested in this. We'd love to get started rolling this out. Again, we're not charging anything right now for rolling this out, for updating your timesheet profiles, for setting up workflows so that you use to-do items. You know, it's something that we're, again, really excited about. We're investing in you. But you have to reach out for now. So you have to reach out if you want it, if you're interested. All right. All right. So if anybody has any questions, I'll leave this open just for a couple more minutes to answer questions. I'd also recommend, again, emailing support@beyondpay.com. We're happy to reach out and schedule some individual conversations as well. But that's all we're going to show today. Again, big focus on the new user desktop experience. We can show those release notes as well. All right, I'll leave this up as well. So help.beyondpay.com. If you want to take a look at the full release notes to see some more details, also stay tuned for some emails that are coming. But that's it. Thank you, everybody.